Football season and COVID. What a combination. Oh my goodness. Lots has changed. We're going to talk about it. We're also going to give you start-sit advice for week 5 and some Hail Mary matchups. So let's get straight to it.
Welcome to the FantasyLand Football Podcast.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
It is Friday, the 9th of October. Welcome into the show. My name is Zach. I'm a co-host here along with my other co-host, Daniel Badaki. Badaki, what an interesting game last night.
Yeah, it was Tom, you got to know your downs.
Oh my goodness. That was actually the memes that came from that. Oh my gosh. It was
hilarious.
Pure gold. I wonder what happened. From what I heard, potentially the reason he was confused is there's always someone in the quarterback's ear.
Right.
And in their helmet, they've always got someone communicating with them. Mm-hmm. And potentially someone told him the wrong thing. Keeping in mind, though, that those orange down chains are there for a reason. Right?
Yeah, there's a big number on the sideline that says 3 or 4. Look, when he first put up the 4 down, like he put up the 4, I was with him for a split second. I believed him.
You just had to.
Yeah, you actually had to. I was like, it's 4th down for sure. Yeah. And then you thought about the plays, and I was like, yeah, no. Oh yeah, it is 4th down.
Yeah. Interesting game. Obviously, the Bucks lost to the Bears. It was close the entire game. Montgomery had a really, really great game.
Yep.
His yards didn't look awesome, but the fact that he's in the he's in the passing game like this is very big going forward. Tariq Cohen is down, 7 receptions on the night, finished with 19 fantasy points. Allen Robinson.
Wow.
Oh my gosh.
Oh boy. A-Rob.
16 targets. He's a target monster.
You want him on your team. You need to have him on your team. Come on.
Yeah. Those targets are probably going to continue. Ronald Jones. Leonard Fournette was active, didn't really play a role at all. Ronald Jones ran the ball really well.
Yeah,
props
he did.
To him.
100%. He looked really strong. That's what you want in your running back, and I think you said it during the game. I wonder if he's gonna hold this starting position, and Fournette could be irrelevant, later on down the road. Yeah. Who knows?
It'll be interesting to see. I think we both agree it will be a split backfield. But obviously Jones is showing his value. Mike Evans put in a decent fantasy performance. The touchdown saved you.
Yeah.
However, Scotty.
Oh, no.
Scotty Miller. Everyone says, but Tom Brady loves the slot wide receiver.
Oh, Tom.
Oh, Tom. The GOAT.
The GOAT.
Yeah. If you started Scotty Miller, I just want to give some time, allow you to grieve. Look, life goes on. It's a Thursday night football matchup. But a big shout out to Scotty for the big old goose egg special. Yeah. Was he targeted once? I don't think so.
No, I don't think so. Look, I'm not really sure. I think they came into this game plan not going to target him at all, which is a surprise. And if you started him, I am sorry.
Oh,
I mean,
the thing is, right?
Knows?
This is fantasy. This is fantasy. What more is fantasy other than educated guesses? It's very much you're betting on players and situations, and the situation was beautiful for Scotty Miller, right? Godwin's down. However, this injury that he was dealing with this week may have been more serious than we were led on to believe, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And maybe that's why Scotty wasn't using the offense as much. But, oh well.
Hey, if it's your first time listening to the podcast, welcome. We want to let you know, and if you're a frequent listener with us, you would know this. We do monthly giveaways for signed memorabilia, and this month we are giving away a signed Odell Beckham Jr. jersey, OBJ.
That's right.
The giveaway is on our Instagram. We are, by the way, partnered with RSA for this giveaway. Big shout out to RSA. So head to our Instagram at FantasyLand Football. You'll be able to find the post there. And while you're there, go ahead and follow and follow all the steps so you can enter that. We do those every month. And on our Twitter, you can follow us as well at FantasyLand_FB. We always update you throughout every game day. And you can watch the podcast if you would like to see our beautiful faces on YouTube. That's just search Fantasyland Football on YouTube. You'll be able to find us. Subscribe and hit the bell for notifications. And of course, you can listen on any podcast platform in the world. There are people who are still listening to us from India. It's actually so cool. If you're from India, please send us a DM. We want to know who these people are that are listening to the podcast. A big shout out to you. I'm just amazed that India is watching the NFL.
Look, NFL is global, and that's what you want. So shout out to India. Maybe we can
global game. That's right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's get into some need to know news.
What is going on here?
Need to know news. What is going on? Let's talk about it. We're going to give you all the latest news in the National Football League right now. All the things that you need to know about. And oh my goodness, a lot has changed. A lot has happened. Take us through our first need to know news.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, obviously we all know with this whole COVID situation in the NFL, a couple games have to be moved. And the number one game right now is Broncos versus the Pats. That's actually been moved from Sunday to Monday night. It's going to be, an early Monday night at 5 o'clock, the 5:05 start. So make sure you set your lineups accordingly. I think these guys will play. These players will play as long as there's no more positive tests on either, or just on the Patriots. So that's probably the biggest one. And then also the Bills, Bills rescheduled for Tuesday, 7 p.m. If there's hopefully no more positive cases.
Oh my goodness.
I mean, a lot of controversy there for the Titans there.
Yes, a lot of controversy. Apparently, the Titans were holding down low secret practices. And look, I don't think the players are to blame here, but someone needs to be held accountable.
100%.
And surely it's the management, it's the coaches. Someone needs to be held accountable. How are these protocols that the NFL put in place not being followed? Obviously, It was there for a reason, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I think I'm on both sides. I understand this needs to be punishment. Then I understand that the player want to practice. They're putting their bodies out on the risk every Sunday, and they've seen all the injuries that's been going on throughout the year with all these ACLs, hamstrings, all this stuff. The season's already, different without preseason. So they have, I guess, I see it from the player's perspective, and I see it from the coaching's perspective and NFL perspective of trying to be safe on both aspects. But it's just a sucky situation.
Yeah, it is. With this Titans-Bills game moving, the Bills-Chiefs game next week has also moved, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's also been moved right now until it was Thursday night for next week, technically, the start of week 6. But if the Bills and Chiefs, if the Titans and Bills games is canceled, then that Bills and Chiefs games will be played still on Thursday night. But if the Titans and Bills play on Tuesday, then the Chiefs and Bills will be moved to Sunday. So once
Which
again,
I assume means there will be no Thursday night football.
Yeah, I think there'll be no Thursday night football. Yeah, it is sad, but I would rather not have a Thursday night football for 1 week than have all these teams shuffle, and then because then fantasy gets all messed up. Then you're worried,
Yeah, that's true. Yep, Justin Herbert named the starter. Great news for most of your Charger players. Obviously, Keenan Allen is probably the biggest beneficiary there. Le'Veon Bell back at practice, probably going to play on Sunday, most likely. However, Julio Jones practicing on the side by himself. Well, we need more information today.
Yeah.
But it looks like Julio's probably not going to play this week. Yeah. Don't hold on to the illusion that he will. We don't think he will.
Yeah, I don't think he will either. I think if what's going to happen is he's probably going to practice on Friday or no. Yeah, he's going to practice today.
Today? Yeah.
Yeah, he's going to practice today, and then he's going to be a game time decision on Sunday. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah. Kyle Allen, Dwayne Haskins is gone. Well, he's not gone. He's still here with us.
He's gone. He's gone. He's pretty much gone.
He is now quarterback 3. And look,
Wow.
as a Washington fan, I know a lot of Washington fans are frustrated by this. I kind of get it. I'm watching the games. While Dwayne hasn't hurt us, okay, if you watched the Browns game last week, it was terrible, okay? But while Dwayne did play pretty decently in that Baltimore game, he wasn't really helping us win games. That's my opinion. And for fantasy, that's how we're going to have to talk about it. It's because this is a fantasy football podcast. This is very good news, in my opinion, for Antonio Gibson and Terry McLaurin. I believe their stock should be rising.
Yeah,
Do you think?
100%. Antonio Gibson, if you think of Kyle Allen and you think of what he did with Carolina, Antonio Gibson is now Christian McCaffrey and Terry McLaurin is now DJ Moore.
DJ.
If you want to put in that perspective and what they did last year, this is how I see this moving forward. You know, obviously if you saw last year.
However, I just want to clarify, we are not saying Antonio Gibson is Christian McCaffrey.
Right.
Right?
I'm not saying that they are even as talented. I just think their production could move forward, and this is how you can kind of picture it in your mind if you followed fantasy last year. Kyle Allen is going to be, dumping it in the backfield. It's going to be doing screens.
And it's also the same offensive coordinator from Carolina in Scott Turner. So great news for those assets.
Yeah,
Lamar Jackson didn't practice on Thursday. However, today he should be practicing. First it was a knee, and then it was a stomach bug. There's no doubt that he's playing. So if you have Lamar, don't stress. Don't worry. He is 100% going to play in this great matchup against Cincinnati. Don't stress about it. But before we get into start-sit advice for Week 5, we want to tell you a little bit about RSA. We've announced last week that we have officially partnered with RSA Sports Memorabilia. So what does that mean for you? Well, that is very, very good news for you. As you know, we do monthly giveaways for signed memorabilia, and boy, we love giving away free stuff. It's actually the funnest thing to do. To send
it's actually
someone a
so
DM.
cool. Like,
yeah, you won. They're like, oh my gosh, really? Yeah, so you already know we do that, but let us tell you a little bit about RSA and why we believe they are the go-to for all things sports memorabilia. Did you know, Badaki, that most signed memorabilia companies don't actually work with the athletes?
Nope.
They use third-party companies, but not RSA. RSA makes deals directly with athletes in bulk, so you can always get the best deals in the industry. RSA is also the largest JSA authenticated autograph distributor and promises a money-back guarantee on all products. Head to shoprsa.com for all your signed sports memorabilia needs. Again, that's shoprsa for all your signed sports memorabilia needs.
Excuse me, can I touch you for a minute? Excuse me, can I touch you for a minute?
Let's talk about it. Let's talk about Week 5. We're going to give you some start-sit advice. And you know what we've done today? We've decided some of these matchups, you probably already know what you're going to do, right? So what we've decided is we're going to take 6 matchups that you probably have questions about. Some of these matchups, you know who you're starting and who you're not. But we've decided to choose 6 matchups that you probably have some questions about. Hopefully, we're going to help you make some decisions. So, Badaki, why don't you start us off with our very first matchup?
That's right. 3-1 Rams at the 1-3 Washington football team. Look, I think this game could be a really good game. Washington has a great defense, I think, personally. And the Rams, I think they're up and down, Like, you saw what they did. But they're 3-1. So, we'll see what happens. Look, Rams side of the ball, Cooper Kupp, you have to start. For sure.
Yeah.
And then you have your boy on the other side against Cooper Kupp with Roberto Woods. He has to. That's right. Roberto Woods. And
Roberto Woods.
That's Roberto Woods. Look, you have to start him. Coop is wide receiver 17 and Wood is wide receiver 18. These guys are must starts. Obviously, either one goes off, one doesn't. Vice versa. You have to start both of them without a doubt. And then Tyler Higbee.
100%. 100%.
Without Tyler Higbee, he's doing his thing. Once again, he had a hit or miss game. He's doing hit or miss. So I think that you still have to start him. The Washington defense gives with the 5th most fantasy points to tight ends. It's a great matchup right now. So I think you have to start him.
It is a great matchup. And here's what you need to understand about the tight end position. To be honest, outside of Kelsey, Kittle, maybe Waller, and maybe Andrews, outside of those 4, every week is very much going to be a toss-up.
Yes.
This is the tight end position. This is how it is. Stop freaking out and trading away Tyler Higbees of the world and Jonnu Smiths of the world, or whatever it might be. These players who play the tight end position, a lot of times defenses specifically game plan around a tight end.
Absolutely.
So you're going to have boom and you're going to have busts.
100%. Questionable plays for me is just the backfield of the Rams. We're not really sure who's going to start. Obviously, Cam Akers is back as Cam, Michael Brown, and Darrell Henderson. These guys are just all up and down. Obviously, we thought Darrell was going to go off against that Giants defense, and it didn't. He didn't. And now with Malcolm Brown...
I didn't think that he was going to go off.
No, a lot of people thought it was a great matchup. Yeah, you didn't think so. A lot of people thought it was a great matchup. I know a lot of people probably started him to try to, as a flex potentially, not as a starting like RB1, RB2, but definitely a flex option. I think if we had to choose anyone in this backfield, me personally, I'm going Malcolm Brown. I think he has the better upside here. Darrell Henderson.
Get where you're coming from. For me, it's another Patriots backfield situation. It's a
100%.
Russian roulette. You should not be
100%.
starting any of these guys, in my opinion.
No, absolutely not. But I think if you are struggling in running backs, if you are obviously running backs are really short this year, but if you're struggling with running backs and you had one of these guys on your team, if there was any of these 3 guys and you had them all lined up on your bench, for me, it has to be Malcolm Brown.
Yep.
And he's proved himself. I think he is the better back out of all 3. Obviously, Cam Akers is a rookie. Let's move on to Washington. Antonio Gibson, running back 18.
Oh my gosh.
This is your boy. He loves him. He has a tough matchup. Yeah. He has a tough matchup against his Ram defense. He played the great, Baltimore defense last week, and he put up points. He put up 20 plus points, which is a surprise. We were not expecting that of him. And he's on the up right now. You love him.
He is on the up right now.
You don't love him? You don't want to say anything about Antonio Gibson?
I love him. I assumed everyone who's listened to the podcast knows how much I love Antonio Gibson, but of course I will talk about him if you want me to. Look, Antonio Gibson, I love him. He is my favorite player in the next 8 weeks to have a massive breakout. I very much compare him to Miles Sanders of last year. I think the breakout is coming. This is his opportunity to be a running back 1 for the next 8 weeks or so. There's the opportunity is there every week for running back 1 potential.
Right.
That's all I'll say.
That's all you say. Antonio Gibson, we'll see. I still need 1 more week from him for me. We'll see what happens. Let's move on. Terry. We got Terry.
Put it in reverse, Terry.
We have Terry.
Oh, Lord. Oh, Jesus.
Back up, Terry.
Back it up, Terry. Look, Terry has a tough matchup against Jalen Ramsey here, but I personally think there's a lot of upside. I think especially with Kyle Allen and the quarterback change, there's a lot of upside for him. He's playing at home. This is your guy. That's it, really. You have to start Terry. You drafted him. That's
totally.
It.
On to our second key matchup of the week. The 1-3 Jags versus the 0-4 Texans. Over-unders at 54. Interesting game here. 2 teams who obviously are not the best in the NFL.
Right.
Bill O'Brien, the genius GM/coach of the Houston Texans, somehow has been fired. What are Texans fans going to do? Rejoice, of course. If you're a Texans fan, you're happy, right? I mean, how 100%. Could this guy give away DeAndre Hopkins? Oh my gosh. Let's talk about the Jags though. Okay, must start players. James Robinson, currently running back 6. You're starting him with confidence. Houston is the 29th worst defense against running backs in fantasy. DJ Chark had game last week where you look at it and you say, this is why I drafted DJ Chark. You're starting him again against this very average Texans defense. Questionable player would be Gardner Minshew. Look, Houston is pretty much the middle of the pack when it comes to defense against a quarterback for fantasy, right at 14.
Right.
This is not a bad stream, but you have to understand. What a stream is. A quarterback stream. A lot of people send us DMs, and we love talking to people in DMs. But you have to be okay with streaming a quarterback and understanding what that means. If you're streaming quarterbacks, it means it could very easily not go your way. Right. Every week you are choosing and making educated guesses to see if something's going to go your way. I think Minshew is a decent stream this week. He will probably put up at least 20 points. If you're happy with that, potentially you could start him, right?
Yeah, potentially. Look, this one's very hit. Gardner
I think I know what you're going to say.
Yeah, that's right. Look, for me right now, I personally don't like Gardner Minshew against this matchup. The reason why that is because the Texans just lost their head coach and GM all in one day, and they're going to rally. J.J. Watt put out a comment talking about how he's ready to move forward, how he's ready for this new chapter for this team. This team is going to rally and get this first win. They're going to play their best football that they've played all year, and I think that defense is going to chew up Gardner Minshew and the Jags. That's how I see it.
Well, we will definitely see. I don't think that's going to happen, but we always see things differently, and sometimes you get it right, sometimes I get it right. Let's talk about the Texans. Deshaun Watson had a much better week last week. You are starting him with confidence against a Jacksonville defense that gives up the 20th most points to the quarterback position. David Johnson, you are also starting him. Volume is king in fantasy, and David Johnson's going to see plenty of volume. Jacksonville is 27th against running backs in defense. Let me ask you a question. Joe Mixon last week. Oh, my goodness. Joe Mixon last week. Is it fair to say that Joe Mixon was
straight cash, homie?
Is that fair? He was straight cash?
He definitely was straight cash.
40 points.
There's a but.
Let me finish. I don't want your buts. Who was it against? Who did he put up a 40 bomb against?
It was the Jags.
It was the Jaguars. That's right. I am not telling you that David Johnson's going to put up 40 or even 30 points, but 20 points could happen this week.
Right.
Where's the butt? Let me see your butt.
My butt is it was the Jags. Like you said, you don't want to hear the butts. My butts was Joe Mixon played the Jacksonville Jaguars, and he's not going to put up 40 points again. Point blank. Period.
Totally. That point was more about this is opportunity for DJ is really great.
For DJ,
let's talk about some questionable players on the Texans though. Will Fuller, wide receiver 20. This is a really great flex play.
Yes.
Or even a wide receiver 2 play this week. Jacksonville is actually surprisingly decent against fantasy wide receivers. Number 10. However, I believe this number is skewed because they are so terrible against the run that people would rather run on them, right?
Right. Yeah.
However, Brandon Cooks, you're not starting him with any sort of confidence at all.
Yeah, he shouldn't be on your team. That's how I feel.
Oh, I think we talked about dropping him last week, but who knows?
Anyways, 2-2 Panthers at the winless Falcons. Look,
oh my gosh.
Obviously,
it's so sad to know that the Falcons are winless.
Yeah, look, I have hope for the Falcons. This can also be a high-scoring game. Over-under is 54. Look, the must starts on both sides of the ball here, obviously, but for me, on the Panthers is probably my most questionable one, and that's DJ Moore.
Okay.
DJ Moore, he's wide receiver 31. For me, it's do or die. It's actually do or die for me right here. It's either he is going to go off right now, or I am questioning every single game whether if I should start him. I'm thinking about like a who can I start over Jared? Russell Gage over DJ Moore. Like that's how I'm thinking, because there's so much more upside with Russell Gage than DJ Moore. Anyways, DJ Moore.
Yeah, look, I think that's a little bit desperate, honestly, in my opinion.
Russell Gage.
You gotta start DJ over.
You have
Gage.
to. That's the thing. But like I said,
But
it's
you
do or
might
die.
be disappointed, right?
Exactly. It's more like it's not like a disappointment. It's like this guy he's hurting my feelings. He's really like he's stabbing me in the back. That's how I feel about DJ right now.
Well, to be honest, I think if we could give you one soundbite to sum up DJ Moore, it would probably be,
He needs some milk.
someone get that boy some milk, please.
Yeah, give him something. The secret sauce water or something. What's it called from Space Jam?
Oh, the secret sauce, right? I don't know. Just get the boy some milk, please.
Robbie Anderson, crazy. Wide receiver 9. He was our trade for this week. I think he's going to go off against this Atlanta defense. He's going to do great. Mike Davis, for running back 14. He's our trade away. You still have to start him until CMC comes back. Teddy, he's a great
start.
Yeah.
You trade him away because the value is going to go real soon, but you have to start him if you have him.
Absolutely. You have to start. Teddy Bridgewater, he's a great stream right now. He's quarterback 18. He is going to throw all over this Atlanta defense, and Atlanta gives up the most points to quarterbacks right now. So you have if you need a quarterback, if you have people on bye, Teddy is a great person. Falcons,
really great stream. Sorry, I just want to interrupt for a couple of seconds. You and I said last week that the Panthers were a much better team than people thought that they were.
Yeah.
And that was shown against the Cardinals last week.
Yes.
What do you think about this matchup? Do you think the Falcons have a chance here?
I think so, yes. Purely just because it's a division game. I think that they play this team, every year, twice a year, and they just have a chance. I just think Teddy is going to take over. It's a whole brand new team. I picked up Teddy, and I'm streaming him because I have Matthew Stafford in another league.
Okay.
Anyways, Falcons, obviously Calvin, Julio, Todd. These are the guys that you're starting. Hayden Hurst, these are the guys that are must starts. Obviously, Julio Jones, he is injured. We're still going to see what's going to happen with him. So definitely keep an eye on Julio. Calvin, really.
I think you and I both believe he will not be playing, to be clear.
No, I don't think he's going to play. I still think he's pretty injured. But once again, I think he practiced limited, or he didn't practice at all. I think he's resting. But apparently,
he did practice on the side by himself.
Yeah, he did. Right. Okay. Anyways, I think you should definitely.
By the way, that sounds like the saddest thing ever. Whenever you see a report, Julio Jones practiced by himself on the sideline. That just sounds so sad.
So poor Julio.
Oh,
the best receiver.
sorry,
Nah,
Julio.
that's so good. Anyways, Calvin obviously had a goose last week. You still start him. Todd doing his thing. You start him. Hayden Hurst doing his thing. Barely. I don't think he's the tight end that we all thought, but I think you still have to start him. There's still a lot of upside with him. A lot of targets, especially if Julio's not on the field.
Yeah, I was going to say that could be really great for Hayden. The thing is, Hayden Hurst is open a lot. A lot of these players are open, but Ryan he could not make a completion
terrible
last week. He was not good at all. Hopefully this week he picks it back up. Let's talk about our fourth key matchup, the 1-3 Dolphins at the 2-2 49ers. Over under is 51.5. I feel strangely, I don't know. We haven't talked about this.
I feel you on this though. I have a feeling that
I feel like the Dolphins could
win this game,
right? Yeah.
Yeah, that's weird. I had the exact same feeling.
Should we make this our upset of the week?
We should.
Okay. Every week we like to make a bold prediction for an upset of the week. And to be very clear, because every time we post the upset on our Instagram, everyone's always in the comments saying, "Are you stupid? You guys don't know what you're talking about." To be clear, an upset of the week means that the other team should win. Okay?
Yeah,
we are saying that there is a chance that the Dolphins have an opportunity to win this game. So I can't wait to see the comments. But this is our upset of the week. Must starts on the Dolphins. Devontae Parker.
Solo.
Here's the thing with Devontae, right? If you drafted him the first 2 weeks, you were pretty disappointed, right? Mm-hmm. Had a much, much better game last week. This is the Devontae Parker you wanted when you drafted him, right?
Yeah.
He had a really good amount of the target share, had a touchdown, had great yardage, San Francisco is currently number 8 against fantasy wide receivers. So this seems scary. However, you need to know that Richard Sherman will not be playing this game. He hasn't practiced since he had that injury. So Richard Sherman is out. I am personally starting Devontae Parker.
Yeah.
And I think you have to if you have him.
Yeah, absolutely. I think this is, once again, yes, the San Francisco 49ers give up the 8th, least amount of points to wide receivers, but my thought process is Richard Sherman, he's not playing. This is a guy who's going to be shadowing Devontae Parker. Yeah. A massive opportunity for Devontae to really shine. And Ryan Fitzpatrick is going to heave it every time. He's throwing the ball.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we talked about this earlier. Luke from our fantasy league we cover in this podcast, he said, why do people like Foles so much? I don't think he's good. And that's a really fair comment. But the reality is we look at Foles a little bit like we look at Ryan Fitzpatrick. Are they good quarterbacks? Not really. But for fantasy, they just chuck the ball all over the field. That's why we like them. Myles Gaskin, let's talk about him a little bit. Definitely a questionable guy coming into this game. It's an interesting flex play purely because of the volume.
Right.
I'm personally not comfortable starting him because the Niners are the best defense against running backs in fantasy.
Yeah.
And I think that stat is something that we can actually start to look at. These stats through the first couple weeks, they're the best, they're the worst, they're the number 20th, they're the number 3rd. Those stats aren't too reliable until we start hitting week 5. This is real data that we can start to rely on. So for me, I'm not starting Gaskin. However, if you need a desperation flex, then you might have to, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, I agree. I'm not starting Myles Gaskin with confidence, but if you're struggling with running backs and if you're struggling with injuries, he can be a great guy that can get you 8 to 10 points.
Totally. Let's talk about the 49ers. Must start players, George Kittle. Oh my gosh.
Oh my
boy. Would you rather have Kittle or Kelsey the rest of the year?
Kelsey?
Yes.
Yes.
I don't know.
Purely because of the offense. He has Mahomes.
Yeah, okay. Fair enough. I feel like Kittle is just the guy. Okay, so Miami, currently the 4th best defense against fantasy tight ends. Again, I think this is similar to Jacksonville. People love to run on Miami, okay?
Right.
There's a reason why. Last week, however, George Kittle had 15 receptions and over 40 PPR fantasy points.
Ridiculous.
I'm starting Kittle, obviously, with confidence. I believe he has a chance to be the tight end 1 for this point onwards. Not obviously previously because he missed some weeks, this point onwards. Now, the other must-start player on this team is whoever is starting at running back, okay? If Raheem is starting, he looked like he was practicing. If Raheem is starting, you're obviously playing him, okay? Right. This is a great matchup. He's a great player. If Raheem is starting, I am much less comfortable starting McKinnon, though. I don't think that you can start McKinnon with confidence. However, if Mostert is out, then McKinnon is a smash start. I don't think you start McKinnon if Raheem plays. Brandon Ayuk, very, very talented young player.
Yes.
Very talented.
Yes.
That hurdle, oh my gosh. The dude, he's got a lot of talent, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's really fast, explosive. I mean, he's fresh legs is what you want. You want him to you want him on your team. Fresh legs, Get
fresh legs in there.
Yeah, get fresh legs in. Brandon Ayuk, look, that's what you want. I think if you need a flex option, Brandon Ayuk could be that guy. They used him a lot in the last 2 games.
Yeah.
Yeah,
they want to get him involved in that game plan, and that was pretty obvious last week. Miami's currently number 26th worst, keep in mind, against the wide receivers this year. I think this is going to be our upset of the week.
I think so as well.
Badaki and I are going to talk about this afterwards because we genuinely haven't talked about this yet. And we will discuss, but this potentially will be that upset of the week.
100%. Look, Colts at Browns, both 3-1. Who would have thought? Wow. These guys, especially the Browns. I know you was talking about that thing you saw on Twitter about how the Baker Mayfield commercials hit differently.
Yeah. 100%. Those progressive, or I don't remember what commercials he's in, but all the commercials hit different when Baker's 3-1. They feel less frustrating.
Look, on the Colts side of the ball, obviously Jonathan Taylor, Look, is another running back that's doing decently well. He's sticking up there. He's running back 16 at the moment. He's ahead of Todd Gurley and a couple other running backs that maybe you thought could have done a little bit better. But Jonathan Taylor, obviously, with this Colts offense, it looks like he's getting the ball, has a lot of opportunity. Look,
yeah,
there's not really.
I think that Jonathan Taylor has done well. It's just a really weird team.
It is.
Isn't it? It's a strange team.
It is a strange team. Look, I think if you go back and watch Week 1 with the Colts when they had no, they have Naeem. What's the one that got hurt? Forgot.
Oh,
That's a
okay,
mind
right.
blank.
Oh my goodness, Marlon Mack.
When they had Marlon Mack, this was a run first team.
Yeah,
run first team. Now with Marlon Mack out, they.
It's still a run first team,
They're
right?
still a run first team,
It's just strange. They don't know who they are.
They're trying to throw the ball. They're trying to find their identity, but they're still getting wins.
You know what's funny is we're saying all this and they're sitting at 3-1.
Exactly. But
they don't know who they are.
It's that defense. It's the defense that's keeping them in the games. It's crazy defense. Look, I think a must start for me personally, if you need a tight end, if you're somebody that's struggling with tight end, doesn't have the best tight ends right now, is Mo Alley Cox. He's tight end number 14 right now. I think he was a great pickup off a waiver wire. And obviously Phillip Rivers loves the tight end position. Yeah. I think he's a must start only if you don't have a tight end. I just want to clarify that.
Totally. Because it will be interesting to see what it looks like with Jack Doyle back. Right. He's been injured most of this time that Ali Cox has done his production. But let's talk about questionable players here. There's only one that we really need to talk about.
There's really only one, and that's T.Y. Obviously, there's been a lot of talks around of people dropping him. There's been a lot of talks of like, what happened to T.Y.? This isn't the same T.Y. I personally wouldn't be starting him.
No, neither. I found it hard just to keep him on my team.
Yeah, it's sad, but T.Y.'s not the same guy.
I do still have him. I haven't dropped him, but I found it hard.
Yeah, this could be a Hail Mary if you really wanted it to. If you weren't doing this, T.Y. could be a Hail Mary option. On to the Browns. Hunt, Kareem Hunt, Odell. Those are the guys that you're starting for me right now. Obviously, Kareem Hunt he's going to be the workhorse now with Chubb out, and Odell, he's doing his thing. I mean, this is definitely a tough matchup against this Colt defense, but I mean, who knows? I think Odell's gonna. They like to throw it down the field with him. Colts give up the 9th fewest fantasy points to wide receivers once again.
Odell was my very first trade away target this week. And we talked about that on our last episode. You can listen as to my reasoning why you should trade him away. I don't know. I don't think the game plan is going to change. It's been working.
I don't think so either.
They've been winning games.
Yeah, absolutely. Questionable players. And for me, obviously, Hooper, I'm not a huge fan. He had a great game. And Jarvis, they both had a great game. But I just think it was a one-off because it was a shootout. I think these guys are going to be shut down by this Colts defense. And look, I think a lot of people is questioning this guy. Well, should I start him? Should I not? Is he going to be the Kareem Hunt now? Is Dearness Johnson? A lot of people, he was a really big, guy to pick up off of waiver wires this week because of obviously Nick Chubb. He's out for 4 to 6 weeks. I think if you, I think if you have him and you need somebody to start, he could be that guy to start. I don't think he's going to give you that many points, but I'm not starting him RB1 or RB2. It's desperation flex.
Don't do it.
Oh, don't do it. Yeah. Oh, my God.
Please, don't do it. I'm telling you, don't start Dearness Johnson. I could look like an absolute fool. I just don't think. I don't know. Do whatever you want.
I think they're going to split it. Kareem is now Chubb, and Johnson is now Kareem. We'll see.
Kareem, here's the thing, right? The Chubb-Kareem thing makes sense because Kareem is such a talented running back. He should be a starting running back in this league for so many teams.
Right.
Dearness Johnson, can we say that? I don't know. So it'll be interesting to see how it develops. Our last key matchup, the 1-3 Vikings at the 4-0 Seahawks. This is Sunday Night Football.
Give it a Dalvin.
This is going to be...
Give it a Dalvin.
This is going to be a really great game for fantasy. I don't know how competitive it will be. But from a fantasy perspective, this is going to be a fun one to watch on Sunday night. It's the worst when there's kind of a snooze of a game. Last week we had the 49ers and Eagles. It was fun if you had George Kittle. Otherwise, it was not super fun to watch.
Right.
Let's talk about the Vikings. Dalvin Cook, currently the RB3. You are starting him in every scenario. Lock-in
That's
player.
Right. That's my
Adam
boy.
Thielen, wide receiver 6 currently. Seattle is the worst defense against wide receivers. You are starting Adam Thielen, which means you are also starting Justin Jefferson, JJ. I've said it a couple times. I think right now JJ is already more talented than Adam Thielen. I am not saying that you should trade JJ. Sorry, you should trade Adam Thielen for JJ. I think Thielen will end up the better fantasy asset for the rest of the year, but I think JJ is more talented. He is a great flex play in my opinion. You have to be starting him unless you have some really, really great wide receiver options. Questionable players is Kirk Cousins. Okay? I don't think there should be much of a question. The only reason we're going to talk about it is because this Seahawks defense is really, really awful, right? Jamal Adams isn't playing either. Kirk could be a Hail Mary, throw it up and see how it could come down. Again, you have to keep in mind, if you're streaming quarterbacks, that is what you are doing. You're streaming. You're not saying, I know there are points coming from this quarterback. You see matchups, you plug it in. If it doesn't work out, you have to be okay with that because that's what you agree to when you start streaming quarterbacks. Are you starting him with any confidence as a streamer?
Look, no, I think I would rather have Teddy in this scenario. I think if, let's say you have...
Okay, let me ask you, Kirk or Gardner, because that was someone we talked about.
Kirk.
Okay.
I'd rather have Kirk.
Interesting. Well, use that knowledge however you'd like to.
I could be wrong.
Let's talk about the Seahawks. Let's talk about the Seahawks. Obviously, you're starting Russ, you're starting Carson, you're starting DK, you're starting Lockett. Yes, you are starting Lockett. I know he had a bad game last week, but you are starting Tyler Lockett, right? Right. So, let me ask you a question, though, because this is what I actually want to talk to you about.
Right.
Are the Seahawks the best team in the NFC?
Yes.
Yes? No question about it?
Yes. No question about it. I don't see anyone else trying to compete with them. I'm trying to think of a team.
Yeah.
I don't.
I'm asking because I feel like they probably are so far.
Yeah, I don't.
But I want to hear. I guess you could say maybe the Packers, right? Packers are in the NFC.
Yeah.
Well, that's the question then. Packers or Seahawks?
I'm just thinking. I really don't know. I think that the Packers is the only team. The Saints.
Saints, okay, sure. If they get Michael Thomas back and he is a real Michael Thomas and that defense maybe figures it out. Let me ask you a question. If you had to bet $100 right now on who's going to represent the NFC in the Super Bowl this year, who are you betting on?
Yeah, 100% Seahawks. Seahawks.
Okay.
Yeah. 3 teams, Packers, Saints, Seahawks.
All right, well, you heard it here first. Badaki said the Seahawks are going to win the Super Bowl. Let's get on. Let's talk about Hail Mary matchups.
Back in 82, I used to be able to throw a pigskin a quarter mile.
Are you serious?
I'm dead serious. How much you want to make a bet I can throw a football over the mountains?
Hail Mary matchups of the week. What is a Hail Mary matchup? Well, basically what a Hail Mary matchup is we take all the matchups for week 5 that we haven't talked about just yet, and we give you one player that we believe could be a toss-it-up prayer player that maybe it works out for you, right?
That's right. So
we give you one player from each matchup, 30 seconds on the clock. We go back and forth, and maybe you plug in one of these Hail Mary players. Maybe it works out. Maybe it doesn't. You got to chuck up a prayer sometimes and see what comes down. Badaki, you are first on the clock here. 30 seconds. Go.
1-2 Eagles at the undefeated Steelers. Greg Ward, wide receiver for the Eagles. Look, with Alshon and Jeffrey still in question for week 5, we saw that, Carson Wentz likes him, and he's leading the teams in targets in week 4. Greg Ward could be a great Hail Mary spot for you guys.
Very interesting Hail Mary. On to number 2. The 2-2 Cardinals at the 0-4 Jets. My one player is Chase Edmonds. Look, the Jets are just a very bad team, okay? And the Cardinals could be in a great game script. Drake hasn't looked good at all, and Edmonds has been the much more efficient running back. Maybe this could be a Hail Mary you could throw up.
2-2 Raiders at the undefeated Chiefs. Obviously, you're starting every one of the Chiefs. But if you need a wide receiver from the Raiders, it's Henry Ruggs. It looks like he was back at practice this week. This could be somebody that Carr loves to connect with. I think this is a guy that he did great in week 1. Week 2, obviously, he got hurt. He was in great stride in week 1. This Henry Ruggs could be a guy.
I don't even care about that 30 seconds. Henry Huggs is his new name. I love it. Okay, number 4, the 1-2-1 Bengals at the 3-1 Ravens. My one player is T. Higgins. Our trade 4 target this week. The Ravens should be up in this game. Their offense should be dominating, which means that the Bengals will need to throw. T. Higgins has been the starter since week 2, and he's been killing it. Throw up a prayer for T. Higgins.
T. Higgins, 1-3 Chargers, and then 2-2 Saints. Monday Night Football, the original Monday Night Football game. Look, with Austin Eckler out, Justin Jackson could be the guy. Obviously, Joshua Kelly has been all the talks that I've been doing with Joshua Kelly. I still think he's good. He's been struggling with the fumbles. He needs to protect the ball, and Anthony Lynn is going to give Justin Jackson an opportunity. And if you are struggling with running backs, Justin Jackson can be that Hail Mary guy for you.
Love it. Number 6, the 1-3 Broncos at the 2-2 Patriots. It's also on Monday night. Surprise. Yeah. One player is Damian Harris. Look, if you heard our pre-draft sleepers podcast before the draft, you would know how hyped I was on Damian Harris. And then he got the hand injury. He came back from IR last week. Mm-hmm. Now, he looked decent. I think the Chiefs defense is better than people give it credit. And I believe that this is a great Hail Mary. The downside is that this backfield is very unclear, so it is a big risk to even start him.
In our last game, the Tuesday night, I think probably one of the first Tuesday night games we've ever had, the 4-0 Bills and the 3-0 Titans.
History. Making history this year.
Making history. Undefeated teams right here. Hopefully this game goes. But look, crazy that I'm saying this, but A.J. Brown could be your Hail Mary guy. Obviously, he's been injured. A lot of people have been questioning him. I'm not questioning him, but I know people out there think that he is going to not be the same person as last year. But I think this can be a great Hail Mary situation for you if he does start.
I love it. I actually love A.J. Brown. I still believe he's that talented guy. Go back and look at the tape of A.J. Brown last year, and you will remember very quickly who he is.
Absolutely.
Those are our Hail Mary matchups of the week. Sometimes you got to throw up a prayer, see what comes down when the praises go up.
That's right. It
Chance,
comes right
if you're
back
ever
down.
hearing this, be cool to hang out. Anyway. I think there's like maybe 150 to 300 people who listen to this podcast. So, hey,
maybe,
you never know.
Maybe one of those guys, no chance.
Exactly. We're growing every day. We've actually been growing a lot. Big shout out to the FantasyLand community. You guys have been amazing. Genuinely, we have been growing. We've only been doing this podcast for just over a month and a week now. And you guys have been awesome. I believe we've been bringing great content, hopefully, to you and hopefully helping you win your championships. Don't miss our next episode. This is our favorite episode always, isn't it?
Straight cash, just trash.
Straight cash and just trash for week 5 performances. And we're also going to talk about Monday Night Football Madness. Obviously, it's a doubleheader. It's a surprise doubleheader. There's a Tuesday Night Football. That was a surprise. There are 3 matchups we're going to talk about on that episode in more detail, just to talk about it because we like talking about football. And of course, we're going to tell you who was cash and who was trash from week 5. But hey, with these matchups today, we always try and cover everything that we think you could be. We genuinely sit down and think, what could people be asking questions about in fantasy right now?
Yeah.
Let's talk about what people actually want to know. However, there's a high chance that we missed a player that you might have a question about. So here's what we always do. Every Saturday, we post a IG story with a start-sit advice questionnaire. So you can reply with a question. We reply to every single question Sometimes we make a video for it. Sometimes we don't, but we always reply. So if you need some help, look out for that story on Saturday. We promise we'll help you out. But again, you know this if you have been following us since we started. We do monthly giveaways for signed memorabilia, and this month we are doing a signed OBJ jersey with RSA, our official partner in this. So head to our Instagram at FantasyLand Football and follow all the steps to be entered. Go ahead and follow us while you're there. You can follow us on Twitter at FantasyLand_FB. You can listen to the podcast on virtually any podcast platform out there. You can also watch it on YouTube. You can see our beautiful faces and see our reactions to everything. Subscribe if you do and hit the bell so you don't miss any episodes. Week 5. It's here.
Week 5. It's going to be interesting. I'm excited. I hope that the Titans don't get another COVID so that hopefully AJ can play.
Hey, Titans, please, just wear a mask. Just wear a mask. Just follow the protocols.
Oh, gosh.
Just, we want to see football. Is it a selfish thing? Maybe. I don't know. But I want to watch football.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, thank you.
Yeah, we also care about your health. We care about your health too. Please don't get COVID.
Yes, that's the reason. I care about your health. Anyway, hey, Fantasyland community, thank you so much for listening to the podcast. We got some exciting news next week that we want you to be a part of.
Yeah.
And just a little teaser, just going to drop that bomb there. But thank you so much for listening. We will see you on the next podcast. And as always, see you there.
See you there.
Hey, yeah, you, the one listening to this podcast, you made a good decision today. Keep making those good decisions. You know what? Go ahead and do a little dance right now, like no one's watching. 'Cause you deserve it.